Hi everybody, welcome to Flamespyro art tutorials for beginners again, and we're still looking at the French Bulldog. I've been doing a bit of work on it off camera for a few days so I can try and get a feel for what the piece was. So I've made some inroads onto a cheek. I thought today we'd do a bit of filming of some more of the Frenchie coming together. At the moment I'm using the Optimum Medium Space Shader. I have been using the extra small Space Shader as well down in the cheek to get them really fine strokes. Today I want to see if I could concentrate on building up some depth to the eye. So when we're building depth to the eye, we have to have a really dark channel in the corner and a dark ridge running up till it pops out of the front, you know, onto his eyebrow. With Frenchies, it's not as big a step out as, say, with a Chihuahua. You know, it's a much flatter. Well, on the picture I've got here, you know, it looks to be a much flatter step. But today I wanted to have a little look at the inner ear with you. So I've been building up the main part of the ear, which is always this thicker stem that runs up the inside of both. But then inside from that, you have to try and give an appearance of that the ear isn't just flat, that it's actually deeper. So we do that by shading into the direction that we want to go, and you can really get some fantastic you know, depth and perception with ears if you're prepared to spend the time to actually do it. For me, it's another one of the really cool ways that you can show a piece isn't flat. This Frenchie, he's got his ear canal bit coming out here, and then he seems to have a ridge that runs as a dip in there, and then it goes off from here to his main stem. So this bit curls round a little. This is all part now of the inner ear. So as we build up the layers of the outside, so we must build up the layers of the inside to give that amazing perception of depth. That's what we're always looking to achieve. We don't want our work to be one-dimensional. always looking for ways to capture more depth to the piece. You'll hear that word a lot mentioned through my tutorials because that is the key focus for any artist. So obviously, as the outside of the ear sits up, it then drops away into the cavity, you know, into like a bowl of the ear, doesn't it? So obviously along here is where we need to start showing that step off. And again, it's just through taking your time and not rushing. As we said, there's no prizes for finishing first. Always go for quality over quantity. When you're doing portrait work, your key focus should be quality, not quantity. If you're lucky enough to be doing it as a job and people are paying you to make pyrography artworks of their pets and things, then obviously, you know, you're going to have to charge them for your time. But as you're trying to establish a name, it's difficult to know how to price your art, because when you're first starting out, obviously no one's ever heard of you, no one knows the quality of your work. You don't, unless you know it's amazing quality already, then you have to maybe charge a little less. But always look for quality. Even if them first portraits, you know, you're working for buttons, they're the first ones you're putting out there, you know, that your name is going against them. So I would rather, like, in a way, sort of lose money, you know, work for next to nothing, put out something as good as you can, and build your reputation from there. Sadly, art isn't one of the, unless you get extremely lucky, there aren't many successful artists. I said in here he's got there is a ridge, there's like a little tunnel in this part of the ear. And don't forget, you're going to have hair that know, comes across from the main body of the head, so we may switch over. This is the extra small space shader. Let's see if you can see it on camera. This one is for doing much finer, smaller detail work. Bear in mind that you need less heat running through this. You need less, you know, of a temperature setting for it to get hot, because it's a smaller surface area. So you may need to adjust your settings on your temperature accordingly. That's if you are running with an Optima. So here was, I would say this is our drop off point into the bowl shape of the ear. And if you think about the shape of an ear on a dog, it goes ovular, doesn't it? So that's the shape we're going to burn in. We're not necessarily going to burn the whole of the ear. What you'll find as you move in this stroke to make the oval, you will start seeing the perception of depth coming out at you. Okay, I'm just going to pause there for a minute because I'm going to go and get a brew because my mouth is dry. Back in a minute. Okay everybody, welcome back. I've got myself a brew. So we can push on now with trying to give this Frenchie's ear some depth. I mean, there are other pen tips that I can show you that are good for this sort of thing. The spoon shader, this could be a great tool for making the shape. As you can see, it calls it the spoon shader because it is shaped a bit like a spoon. I found it works really well on faces, on cheeks, and subtle areas. But let's give it a little try out on this ear and see what look it gives us. This is just a practice piece. To remember we're stepping this ear down. We're trying to tell the eye of the viewer that this ear actually folds away inside. That's why when you've got this ridge, that's like one of your marker points that you can use to start doing your step away of your depth perception with the ear. And all you do is just work in like an oval shape. Then you may need to adjust your heat settings. Like I said, I don't like to work on too high a heat. I don't like to go all in straight away. It's good to see what effect a certain stroke or pen is giving you before you commit yourself to it. But along this wall will be quite a dark step blending, because you want to start giving the eye the feeling of looking deeper into something. So we keep working along. So this part here is funneling off to the inner ear. This is all opportunities to give the viewer more depth perception. Which is what we're striving to do, is make them look at it at not a flat piece of work. If obviously coming out of the ear canal is where it's going to be at its darkest point. So I need to turn this round a minute. Remember I said there was that tunnel there, so we have to leave that alone. This is going off into a little channel. My pen's heating up a bit too much now. Turn it down a touch. But as long as you stay on the line of that step there, don't go over it. You can shape the inner ear from there, but never go over that mark, otherwise then you haven't given the clear definition break off point, and then the eye gets confused as to what it's looking at. So we're still pushing this back of the ear back. Usually with dogs' ears, they sort of like dip in and then they lift up, don't they, and ridge back out again. So, because I've already started building some fur, some light fur strokes to there. And this, what we're doing now, is what you call, like I said, like layering. The guy who makes the Optima pack can tell you all this crazy stuff about wood, about the properties of wood and how it can, how it works like board or canvas, you know, how it has qualities that you can get more depth into the wood. I couldn't explain that to you, but he did explain it to me once, but he lost me. But trust me, you can build up layers. So this is a step down still. to show it darker, for it to drop off. And again, it has to be blended. And basically you can go as deep as what the ear's depth would be. The darker you went, the deeper and deeper you could take it. I'm just putting this line in. As a sort of backboard. So this is the key basics to how you get an ear to look like it has depth to it. Start from the edge, go in the stroke direction of the oval shape that you're looking to achieve. Till you get to the required depth that you want. And then you can start shaping the ear. The ear's inside, always here, where it actually goes into the ear, is going to be its darkest point, which you'll have to show that later on. Not with this tool, with this pen tip. That's the deepest, darkest recess of the ear. Really windy here today in the UK. It's, what time is it here now? It's my tablet's died. I'm lucky enough that I have a Samsung tablet that I use as my reference photo, second hand one that my wife bought me so I could use it for reference photos. And a rubbishy old tablet that I could watch telly while I worked, you know, YouTube or whatever. So you might hear a load of dings in a minute. With any luck we won't, but we'll see. Usually captures up all the conversations they've had and all the other devices. Ping, 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 ping. There we go. Switch the volume off on it so we can pull everything through. So again, like the back, like the side of the ear, you have to blend a ridge. For the top, you know, to signify that it's going into the bowl. And the ear will start coming together. Again, an ear can, just one ear alone can take a good couple of hours to get right. So we're not going to be doing the whole thing here today, but just give you the basic principles. We're shaping it round into that bowl. We're telling the eye that there's some depth to this ear. I'm not sure what we're going to do about his ruffles yet, because I've been working off 2 reference photos for this one dog. So that's why it's been more of a challenge. What do they call crossbreeded dogs? Mongrels or something. That's what this one is. Such a shame I couldn't find the original photo anywhere on Shutterstock. Well, there was like several thousand pages of French bulldogs, and after about page 10 or 12 or whatever, I got sick of looking through and plumped for one, and that looked like it was sat in the same sort of pose. But of course, as every dog's nose is unique, every dog's ears are unique to that dog. Well, my original stenciling was pretty much useless to me. Okay, so we can start bridging off there. Not pressing down with any pressure, just letting the pen glide over. The heat of the pen do the work. You don't press down super hard with your pen tips. The idea is for them to glide. And if you push down super hard, you're going to bend them or break them. So just let the heat of the pen do the work. I hope this tutorial's taught you something about how to make your portraits look more realistic. The principle works on pretty much anything. Just building layers, moving in the direction of the shape that I want to achieve. And for me personally, after a couple of hours, I'll have an ear that I'm happy with. So I think we'll leave the lesson there for today. Hopefully on the video you can see that this ear has got some depth to it. You know, it's shading in. This side is going in as well into this tunnel. This part here is the actual ear canal. So that's going to be his darkest point. But you don't want to go over that ridge. You need that clean break line there to distinguish that there's the break point. And then just keep working away at it, blending it until you get the required depth that you're looking for. Okay, I hope that was some use to newcomers to pyrography. I'll keep working on this French Bulldog and just pick up with you through different points of it as I find my way through it, because like I said, this is a two dog merged into one burn. Okay, take care everybody, happy burning, and I shall speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.